want to say it brings us to the distinction between negative peace and positive peace. Now, negative peace is just the absence of violence, right? Which is distinct from positive peace, which is about bringing the two groups together, that they're mutually interested in reinforcing harmony and development between them.
By providing them with an opportunity to live peacefully and to interact better, and so to become better Christians in the process.
So I think the Shalom Initiative is to try to get to understanding the reasons for conflict, analyzing them, finding out the root causing, and coming up with long-term solutions.
The idea of the Shalom Center came from Father Patrick Divine, who was a missionary of the SMA, and he's been working in Africa for more than 20 years. He began in Tanzania, and then he's also done a lot of work in Kenya. So he attended a conflict management course, postgraduate course at the Catholic University. And after that, he wanted to apply some of the skills that he had learned practically and make a difference to the communities, especially with regard to making an impact in the north of Kenya, which is some of the most arid and marginalized areas of northern Kenya, because he realized from his discussions with many people from the visits that he had made that it was difficult for values to take deep root. There was too much conflict going on.
We founded this organization because so many of our missionaries are working in conflict environments in Eastern Africa. And it became very clear to us that in conflict environments where people are being killed and maimed and displaced perennially, year in, year out, it is very, very difficult for the gospel to take deep root, for the people to experience true peace or to live normal lives. Furthermore, it's very difficult for development to take place so that the people can progress in their lives, improve their lifestyles, and live a healthy life as Christ would have wanted in the gospel.
Here in Turkana, we have plenty of conflict. We're surrounded by 4 international boundaries, and the Turkanas and our neighbours traditionally, over in Uganda, the Karamojong, in Sudan, the Toposa, in Ethiopia, the Marilla, we've always been at conflict over grazing and browsing and all the rest. And there have been many attempts at peacemaking, barazas and meetings and so on. But again, nobody has tried to get to the root causes or to examine the root causes or to try and address the root causes rather than becoming patching when there is trouble.
We actually got registered in November last year by the Kenyan government, 2009, so we're a registered organization now. Okay, so Shalom's work has several components. One is researching the conflicts very well and understanding them, because we believe that you cannot manage conflicts that you really don't understand.
When I was doing my research on the Turkana-Dasanek conflict, which is up in northwestern Kenya, up near the Elemi Triangle, there was a lot of conflict to and fro, week in, week out. And on one occasion at the edge of the Elemi Triangle, I entered a village one morning with another priest and some Turkana people with me. And unfortunately, the night before, the Turkana people had attacked the Dasanek in retaliation for an attack the week before by the Dasanaks on the Turkanas. But when we got into the village, bodies were slain all over the place, and the wounded were on the ground, and it became a very tense situation in light of the fact that the Dasanak young men, husbands, boyfriends probably of the people there, were killed or hurt or maimed. And of course, entering with 2 Turkanas, I mean, immediately the blood boiled and the desire for revenge immediately on these 2 Turkana people. But we got the 2 Turkana men into a house, a safe house, and we stood at the doorway, the priest and I and the owner of the house, who was a Dasanak. And the pain that we witnessed, especially I would say in the women who had lost their husbands and their loved ones, and the emotional pain was really burning in the air. The one thing we can say is that if Christ ever stood up in a conflict situation and witnessed through humanity, it was in the presence of a Dasanak woman who confronted all our own people about our role in trying to bring about peace in the area and the need for everyone to cooperate and not to be just blaming one side. She said they have attacked the night before because we attacked last week. And she said the two men that are there are not guilty of this act. And if the gospel means anything, and if we're believing in the work of the church in this area, I mean, we need to not take revenge on these two men and to help Father Patrick Devine and his assistants to bring about conflict resolution in this area.
So I think the Shalom Initiative is to try to get to understanding the reasons for conflict, analyzing them, finding out the root causing, and coming up with long-term solutions, not just stopping the killing when it happens.
We already had a training this year in February, again with missionaries in Lodwar in northern Kenya, and there were more than 80 participants from all over northern Kenya who took part in the peace building training. And we hope to be able to do this on a regular basis every few months, and the idea is to make it a kind of continuous training where we're getting feedback constantly.
This will also involve dealing with issues of conflict area management in southern Ethiopia, in southern Sudan, and in eastern Uganda. Then we have to be also aware that in northeastern Kenya, there's a huge amount of conflict between pastoral communities, which is not centered on religion. But the nearer we get to the Somali border, issues of the role of religion in fueling and healing conflict come into play. Now, the bishops in all those areas, that's the diocese of Turkana, Marsabit, Garissa, Isiolo and Maralal, have been invited us up because year in, year out they're dealing with so much death, maiming and displacement of their people. A huge role that we will play in our work of conflict resolution and reconciliation is to break down barriers between the different ethnic groups. And we feel that it's very important to begin this at an early age, and especially in the schools, but also in the play that goes on between children from different environments, from different ethnic groups, that we bring them together so that they can share and to break down any stereotypes that they may have received from their parents or past generations, to look at how we can bring about reconciliation and harmony among them. A huge dimension of our work will be dealing with the issue of conflict memory and the trauma that past generations have experienced, so that there needs to be healing brought about. And healing cannot happen quick. You can't just go in and bring people together for a meeting and then sign an agreement and hope that there's healing. It brings us to the distinction between negative peace and positive peace. Now, negative peace is just the absence of violence, right? Which is distinct from positive peace, which is about bringing the two groups together, that they're mutually interested in reinforcing harmony and development between them. And I think that distinction has to be made. I would also want to say that part of our work is to address the structural violence that exists in northern Kenya, where there is massive state neglect, lack of institutions, schools, hospitals, churches, water projects. And if we don't deal with the issues of structural violence, eventually they develop into behavioural violence, where people involved in direct physical force.
We hope to include more people from the different ethnic communities that we have there. So we hope to make it more and more inclusive over time.
On one particular occasion, I remember sitting in Turkwell Parish with Father Oliver Noonan after coming back from a conflict environment where 13 people had been killed the day before. And we were trying to get the connection between the gospel and conflict resolution. And of course, it sprung up in the sense that for the gospel to take deep root, we need to resolve the issues of conflict environments to help the people experience normal lives.
So that initiative has come through the initiative of one of the SMA fathers, Father Patrick Devine, and it is good, and he came here to explain it along with his assistants and experts, and they had a day with the religious and priests and lay people here, and they're coming back, and I'm very happy that they are coming back. I understand maybe even July of 2010 that they will come back and start working practically on the ground with the people who are involved in conflict management.
My experience, like being robbed or being gunshots put over your head, was, while there's shock in the system without a doubt, is I got up along with the two other missionaries from Canada, and the three of us said, "Isn't it great to be alive?" and the glory of life and the desire even to live life more fully was, I suppose, re-impressed upon our hearts.
Conflict resolution and reconciliation has been a course that was offered to us by Father Patrick Divine this semester. And believe me not, this has been one of the most wonderful courses that is so practical, especially to the missionaries of today. I have just finished organizing the second meeting of Kenyans. And do you know why? The reason is, when I was introduced to this course by Father Divine, I realized as a Kenyan I have a role to do. And therefore I started by bringing first Kenyans together. And how do you bring people together? By doing away with conflict, by doing away with violence, which this course offered. And this is the one way that we are trying to continue with the same message of the gospel of preaching the kingdom of God, by bringing reconciliation and resolution among the warring factors.
Yes. While the Shalom initiative, to me, is one of the good things that have happened over the last 1 or 2 years, it is an initiative which is involved with conflict resolution.
We're going to send out research assistants there who are going to collect data on the conflicts, and then we're going to analyze it and to improve the quality of life of the people as well, by providing them with an opportunity to live peacefully and to interact better, and so to become better Christians in the process.
My own background in regards to conflict resolution and reconciliation is steeped in my own faith in the gospel and Christ's values of justice and peace and liberation.